Hey there. Welcome to the Building High Value website, WordPress site's live video today. So sorry it's a little bit late, and thanks for joining in anyway. So today, have you ever been in a situation where you meet with a client and you feel like you understand exactly what needs to be done, you go back, you build out the project, and you've developed this masterpiece. You put a lot of work, a lot of thought, a lot of effort into it, and then you get to the meeting where you're going to do like a milestone review, or depending on the size of the project, maybe you're actually delivering the final project at this time, and you're excited, you're pumped up for the meeting. Everybody is showing up, and you open up your laptop to reveal this masterpiece of work, and you're expecting your client to just burst with excitement and joy and glee and happiness over all this stuff that you've got here. And instead of that, though, they have the wrinkled eyebrows of dissatisfaction, and you begin to think, what happened here? How did this go down? And then on top of that, they begin to say, you know what? And then they start listing all of these things that they want you to change on the site, but it's making the site worse. So it's like, can you make that font bigger? Can you change the font face? Can you make this color a different shade of blue? Can you move this picture from there? And then you start adding up all of the time that it's going to take to do all of this stuff. And it's really frustrating because on one hand, you're like, man, I've already spent more time. I really did the best that I could. I went over and above and beyond and spent more time than I had originally planned to really deliver this awesome site. And now I've got to put more time into it on top of that. And to add insult to injury, the changes that are being requested here, they're making everything worse. And I know that this is a really common thing. I mean, this happens all of the time. And so what do you do about it? How do you fix that problem? So if this resonates at all with you, if you've ever had that experience, go ahead and say hello in the comments. In fact, it's really helpful if you do say hello in the comments, because then I can see who's actually here. Because if as far as I know, if you don't actually leave a comment, then I can't tell that you are here or not. Although I do see how many people are watching at any particular time. If without the comments, I don't say, hey, it's Steve and it's Rick. Awesome. Just a freeze frame. I wonder why. I don't know why. It says it's live. So I'll have to look into that. But be all that as it may, if you could leave a comment or say hello or ask a question or something in the comments just to let me know you're here, that would be fantastic. So here you are sitting in this meeting. You open up your laptop, do this reveal, and the client is dissatisfied or starts putting forth suggestions that make things worse in your eyes, and you and your client just aren't coming together. You're not seeing the same thing, which is a really frustrating thing because it's sitting right there on the screen in front of you, but it's are you noticing that it's a frozen frame as well, Rick? I could start the thing over and see if that helps. Oh, it's live now. Awesome. Maybe it was buffering or something. So cool. So what do you do about that? What's the problem there, and how does this come to be? And so here's what the issue is, and this is one of the big things that we talk a lot about here in the group. So and the thing is, so I just left a comment. What do you do to have a meeting of the minds with your client so they're not nitpicking your work and actually making things worse? And the issue is, it's the concept that we were talking about before about like selling websites. So it all begins with the initial meeting. The problem with the reveal actually started with all good here. Awesome. Is the problem that started at that you're experiencing at the reveal of the website actually started at the initial meeting. That's where the groundwork was set to cause this problem. And it's a little bit of a subtle thing, but that's actually what. So to fix this issue, you have to go back to the first meeting where you're actually scoping out the project with your client. And here's what happens. So it seems like the general de facto way that a lot of WordPress developers work with their clients is they get on the phone or have a meeting, the client calls, and the client tells the developer, tells us, tells you what to do. Here's what I want to do. Here's why I want a website. Here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to look like. Here's the pictures. Here's the copy. And they're treating you kind of as like their employee, and that they're like the boss. And then of course most people then go ahead and try to please the boss and try to do the things that were asked and implement the website to the best of their ability. But the problem is the design is not the same thing as the outcome of the website. So when you design the website, it can look good, it can look bad, it can look blue, it can look white, it can look yellow, it can look green. The way that it looks doesn't necessarily have an impact on whether or not it performs. And so that's where it all comes down. So it has to do with discovering the outcome your client wants more than discovering necessarily the colors or the layout. So that's part one. The second part is who's leading the conversation. So if you're showing up at the table and you're just asking for orders basically, and you're leaning on your client to give you the direction for the project, that's what's causing the problem when you do the reveal. And so what would be better than that would be if you show up at the initial meeting, listen to what your client has to say about all these things, and then bring to the table additional ideas. And so you have to dig into the reason why your client wants the website. So it's not just what. You can't just stop with the what in terms of what your client wants. You have to dig into the reason why. And then when you begin to uncover that, then you're able to actually put a strategy together to accomplish the outcome that your client's looking for. And of course, the strategy and the outcome doesn't really have anything to do with the actual design or the layout of the site in terms of the nitty-gritty details. So for example, if you're meeting with a client, you can say, why do you want a website? And they say, I want a website because I need to have more traffic, or I need to have more leads, or I need to have more sales, or I want to be able to better educate my client about the service that I'm doing, or I do 3 different kinds of things, and I want to know, I want to be able to make sure everybody knows that I do all 3 of these different things, and they can sign up for whichever one of the 3 things they want, or whatever it might be. When you begin to interview your client about these things, you begin to kind of remove yourself from, okay, here's my bio, here's page 1, here's how the nav works, here's the site layout. All of those things will come later, but you have to start with, why does the client really want the website? And then as that begins to become revealed, then you begin to come to the table with concepts for what you can do to achieve that outcome. So whether you're setting up social media accounts, or connecting in videos or YouTube feeds, or whatever it might be, to be able to better educate your clients, then that removes the whole conversation from like the nitty-gritty details of what's going on. So all of that is to say that it has to do with the leadership component of the initial meeting. Like, are they telling you what to do and you're just the web guy, or are they coming to you and you're now like an online consultant helping them come up with ideas? And so obviously the second choice of you being the consultant helping to come up with ideas, that's where you want to get to. And there's a couple of reasons why. The first reason why is it should not be on your client to know all the things that can be done on the web, or how to do them, or what to do about it. So for example, even if you have a bunch of traffic flowing across the website and everybody's looking at the web stats and rejoicing because the stats are looking good, if you're not doing anything with the traffic, if you're not directing the traffic into the right spots of the site, if you're not connecting with the people that are coming, if you're not learning what they want, if you're not serving them, really what it all comes down to is, are you serving the people that show up on the website? And that's what the strategies all need to do. And of course, the exact implementation of what that looks like depends on the initial questions that you ask your client about what the goals are of the site, rather than just the colors and the design and the layout and things like that. So let me give you a quick example or an analogy to to draw this out a little bit. So suppose when you go to a doctor, for instance, right? So if somebody went to the doctor and they said, okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want to sit up on this table and I want you to hit my knee with that little hammer thing, because it's really cool when my leg pops out. And then after we do that, I want you to go and give me one of those CAT scans, you know, where you get into like that tunnel thing and it feels like you're an astronaut jumping out into space, you know, and all that whirly stuff. Let's do that because that's really fun. And then when we finally finish it off, you know, do one of those blood pressure squeeze things because, you know, it kind of feels kind of cool when all that pressure just releases. That's what I want to do while I'm at the doctor. And then, of course, the doctor looks at you and says, but I thought you had a sore throat. You know? And so it's like you wouldn't do any of those things if the real reason for the visit was the sore throat. And of course, nobody does that. Nobody shows up to the doctor and lays out a list of things to do like that. And so why then, as a web consultant or a web developer, would we expect our clients to come in and tell us what to do to fix the sore throat, you know, to achieve whatever outcome they want for their website? And instead, wouldn't it be better if you could ask the questions that really uncovered the problem? So if you began to really, go kind of broad and ask what are all the reasons you want to redesign your website, or what are all the reasons you want for your website? And of those reasons, what's like the most important one? And then you say, okay, why is that the most important reason? And then, of course, you lay out a bunch more questions as to why you do that and so forth. And so you're digging in to really uncover what the purpose is behind all of this stuff. And then you can begin to build rapport with the people that you're working with, so that they trust you, they respect you, you trust and respect them, and you really begin to develop this teamwork relationship between you guys, rather than like you're just working for the boss or whatever. Because if you are in the situation where you're just taking orders and you're just doing what they say, then there's two major problems. The big problem with that is you're never going to be able to read their mind, and you're never going to be able to do it right. And when they see even if you do exactly what they said, when they come and see it again, they're going to have new ideas and different opinions, and they will have changed their mind a little bit, and it'll never work. And they're going to nitpick your work apart and ask you to redo it, and it's going to be a big problem. And the essence of that problem is there's two different goals. Your goal is to please them. Their goal is to like make forward progress, and it's like you're not meeting up at the right times. Whereas if you set the trajectory of here's where we need to get, then you bring your client along, and as you're both progressing, you end up at the same point. And that is a much more efficient way to be working with folks. So, and then of course, the second problem is that if you're just taking the orders, then there's so much getting left on the table. Like all the stuff that hopefully you know how to do that your client doesn't know how to do or doesn't even know is possible, then all of that is not even in the mix. And so it would be like the doctor asking the patient, okay, well, here you are, what do you want me to do to you? And not trying to uncover the problem. And then of course, you get that funny story you just had where you're like, put me in the CAT scan. It's like we're in and out of space. And so, and of course, that's ridiculous and doesn't help anybody. And so, so to fix the nitpicking problem, come to the table, uncover the problems that your client has, discover the real reasons why people want this website, and then put together a strategy and say, here's what we're going to do to achieve this outcome. This is why it's going to work. This is the point of all of the stuff that we're doing. And then when you get to the reveal, then you show, hey, here's how this works now. And you can show people like, okay, whatever the systems are, people do a lot of different things with websites, but whatever the systems are that you have set in place to grow their business, that's the thing that's really going to wow them. It's very difficult to wow clients simply with graphic design work, because then they're going to say, oh, well, I'm really a better graphic designer. And I've worked with so many graphic designers in the past that have said this exact thing to me. I've seen it happen so many times where the designer, like after the meeting is over, the designer's like, well, I'm the guy that went to school for this. I've got the degree in design. I'm the one who's doing it. And they're telling me what to do. What's going on? And the problem, of course, is that they're just taking these orders. They're presenting this, beautiful thing to their client, but their client they haven't done all the graphic design schooling. And so they aren't able to appreciate the work. And so they just come up with their own concepts and so forth because they feel like they're leading the path. And as opposed to you actually showing why the things that you're about to do are actually going to succeed here. So that is the big deal. So you need to show up at the meeting, at the initial meeting, with authority, with the confidence that you can actually serve the client. And the way you get the confidence is by uncovering what it is they actually want to do with their website. And so once you set that groundwork, then it changes everything from that point forward, because when you do the reveal, rather than saying, hey, do you like it? Do you think it looks like what you had in your brain? Did I read your mind right? Instead of that, you can say, hey, let me show you how what we've put together is actually going to get you new clients, or is actually going to enable you for the first time to effectively share with people the 3 different types of things that you do without everybody getting confused as to what's what. Or here's how you're actually going to make money with your website. People are going to be able to subscribe to your service right online, right here. Here's how that works. Let me show you how that works. And when you get all of that stuff going, then you're the one leading the whole conversation and being the expert, and that's where the high value is. So that's pretty much the talk for today. If you have any questions about all of that stuff, again, put it in the comments, let me know. And also, always remember to share this group and these videos with other people so that we can help basically rise the tide and lift all of the boats. So there's so many people out there that have questions about these types of things, and it would be awesome to reach more folks. So go ahead and share all of that stuff, and then and we'll get together again next Tuesday. If between now and then you have some questions, or any of the stuff that we talked about today was kind of striking home with you, I am available still for phone calls. So if you want to talk on the phone about these types of things, I've made some availability in my schedule. You can get that at doublestack.net/call, and that will hook you directly into my personal schedule, where you and I can spend about 45 minutes talking about your business, talking about what's working, what's not working, where you are right now, what skills you have right now, and what skills you want to be able to get, and what are the skills that you actually need, so that you can actually set up systems and processes that mean that you're getting recurring revenue, so you don't have to constantly be looking for clients all of the time and dealing with that feast or famine, spiky income, unpredictable lifestyle that comes along with a lot of consulting gigs. So instead of that, instead of just hopping from client to client looking for new projects, you could be building up systems and processes that are growing your business every month with recurring revenue. And so we can talk about that too. And then, of course, on top of all of that, we can talk about what can you do to change the way that you talk about the stuff that you're doing, so that rather than just taking orders from your clients and then trying to read their minds to achieve some level of satisfaction or whatever, that instead of that, you can actually do better than that and lead your clients in a way that's actually going to grow their business and have them stay with you. And one of the red flags that should be going off is, if at the end of a project you just let the client go, then one of the things that you might want to think about with all of that is, why am I letting thanks for the hearts. Why am I letting the client go, and what are they going to do with what I just gave them? Because the truth is that your clients, they don't know how to do anything with the stuff you just gave them. So like, even if you did a fantastically awesome, great job, if all you're doing is giving them, hosting or site maintenance plans or installing plugins for them when updates need to be made or whatever, then there's so much being left on the table for your client, for you, for their clients. There's so many things that you can be setting up that need month-to-month regular basis, and it's regular maintenance on a regular basis. And that's going to be really profitable for you. It evens out your income. It lets you scale and grow your business to new heights that you wouldn't otherwise be able to make, because building websites just in and of themselves is a very seasonal kind of a thing. So big picture with the whole conversation today, it's not really about selling websites. Websites are really just a tool that you're using to sell a better outcome for your client. And of course, that better outcome starts with building a website or doing the redesign. That's kind of where you kind of get the ball rolling, but it doesn't end there. It continues on and on and on as you work with your client, optimizing stuff, setting up systems and processes that will allow you to continue to grow the business. And I know that's kind of a general kind of a thing, but that's what we're going to talk about. So if you have a specific client that you're working with, or a specific question about those types of things, that's what we'll talk about when you schedule a call at doublestack.net/call. So head over there right now, and I've got some availability over the next few days for you to connect in with me, and we'll talk about these things. and we'll get you to the point where you don't have to be worried about where you're going to find your next client all the time, and you're not going to have that spiky income problem. You're going to be able to close deals because you're not selling websites, you're selling outcomes, and that's really what your clients care about. Even though they might come to you and say they want a website, they don't really want the website. They really want the outcome of what the website's going to do for their business. So we can talk about how to get you to that point. That's what we do. That's what we're experts in. And definitely looking forward to talking to you about that. So thanks so much for showing up today, and we'll see you again next Tuesday, 2 o'clock. And I've got so much more to say. I could go on for an hour, but I know that's probably a bad idea for right now. So so much more to say next time, and really looking forward to talking to you guys about it. So see you then, and thanks for showing up. Take care, guys, and head over to doublestack.net/call if you want to talk. Awesome. Bye.